Hello and welcome back. Once again, joined by Josh from Two Geeks, One Mic, and the Black Tower podcast. Today, I hope you lend us a stick of your time because we are covering episode 7 of Shogun, A Stick of Time. Okay, right off the bat, what's most memorable, biggest plot point you want to jump into today, Josh?
Okay, so just for clarification's sake, for all those watching, I literally just finished this episode up. Like I literally just watched it. Chaos has reigned. The Lord of Chaos has ridden again, and my life has been like just all kinds of all over the place. And I just finished up this episode, and I am, oh wow, I'm still processing a lot of it because you asked that question, and the first thing that came to my mind was whoever their audio engineer is, I hope they get all the awards.
All the accolades.
All the accolades, all the credit and recognition, because the way that they move the sound and the audio and the effects to forward the story just amazes me. Just amazes me. It is so good.
That ending though.
Oh, that ending though.
Things I did not see coming for 600, Alex. Like,
talk about a roller coaster though.
I mean, the way that they kept showing the camera angle on Toranaga's brother, he was wearing that long white robe, right? With that kind of like long train in the back, and he's kind of like shuffling around in it, and he's in the water, like, oh my God, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill him. Brother, nephew against uncle, and just it didn't go the way that I had thought. And like we've said multiple times, we haven't read the books. I don't know if this is from the books or not. Like, I didn't see it coming. That was a major plot twist, in my opinion.
Yes.
But also, what would have happened if he succeeded? Like, do we think that Toranaga had I don't think Toranaga could have foreseen this happening, like his son going after his brother, half brother. But this episode was so suspect, so suspect.
And which was going to get to my second point, which is whoever the filming director was, they did such a good job of like creating this very eerie, suspicious vibe where you're like, did that happen? I don't know. Did it? Do we need to check again to see if that happened? I need to watch this. And
that's what I felt like with so the episode A Stick of Time, it's essentially revolving around this theme of everyone having a meeting with Toranaga this day. Like, everybody wants something from the guy, but also on the other side of things, he's trying to just, I guess, like, outwardly it looks like he's trying to come together with an idea of things, and you don't really know if he's waiting for an idea to come or just playing the long game and hoping if he waits things out long enough, maybe an opportunity will arise. But with what you were saying about all the suspension, it seemed like with every meeting that he had, there was this really suspenseful way about it, where it's like you don't know what exactly is being said, if there's more to things that were being shown. Is this like a test? Is he testing his people to like bring them in on something, or is he trying to figure out who he can trust, maybe? Or is it just like a day in the life of like the guy who's not I mean, we know he's not going to die like today, this episode, right? But he's like resigned, like, I'm a fallen, victim to the circumstance. I can't go any further. But everyone still wants something from him.
Yeah. At some point in time, even if you're the dude in charge and you have all the answers and you're amazing, and at some point in time, even you have to go, maybe I'm not, maybe this isn't fate. Maybe this isn't meant to be. I mean, we've just come up from the fact that his army was essentially swallowed by an act of God. So the gods have told him no. And he said, okay, we're going to Crimson Sky this bitch. Yes. And he needs to talk to his brother. And his brother comes over. And not only is his brother not keen on an alliance, his brother has sided with the opposition already.
Yes.
And I feel like for Toranaga, he's got to be sitting there going, enough is enough. Like, I can't win. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the tactical advantage. I don't even have the advantage of having my family with me. It's not wrong to admit defeat when you know you're defeated. That is partially one of the reasons for this sort of formal surrender request kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You are beaten. You know you are beaten. Please accept that you are beaten. And there's something noble in that you save the lives of your people, right? A bunch of them will commit seppuku anyway out of loyalty. But point stands that far more people survive and are able to continue on. And there's something kind of like morosely beautiful about that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think I do believe that in this moment, like in this like day in the life of Toranaga, there is defeat here. Like you can see it on his face. But I also have to assume that he is either like what seems to be submission can't also rule out like submitting or like stalling and waiting for an opportunity where like you can he's kind of like waving his white flag, but I can also see him like he's like, oh, I need 24 hours, and he's like, okay, I'll give you a day to make your formal opinion or say what you need to say. But he tends to do that a lot. He's always like, oh, let me think about things, and he usually comes out on top. But
he's
in
very
this case,
in that sense.
Yeah.
Actually, I just said that, and he has got Perrin energy all over him. Like, Toranaga-sama, you have the brains, you had the tactical advantage, you had all these things, but because you didn't want to rush into a situation, now you're on the ropes because you didn't act when you could or should have.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean too, there's this whole like play, I guess this big theme this episode of like truth versus legend, where his brother keeps bringing that up, like, do you want the truth or do you want the legend? And we see the flashback of Toranaga as a young boy, and the beheading of this opposing guy that was against him and Hiromatsu, and his brother like publicly like shames him, and he like retells the stories like, oh, like it took him what was it? He rode his horse the whole way, having an accident in his pants and stuff like that. And it's just like, so we have like the truth versus the legend, and the way that they shot this episode really kind of grappled with like what, we the audience see, and then versus like what we hear from another party. So
there's some Luke Skywalker vibes there too, where yes, at one point in time I was this legend, I was this great thing, but like let's move on from that. I have to move on from that. That's not me anymore. And whether it's from self-doubt or self-defeat, like, I don't know. I don't think it would be from self-doubt.
Yeah.
There's got to be some there, though, after, like we just said, all the things that he's gone through. So, yeah, real tough place to be.
Yeah, for sure. So after I watched the episode, I opened up ye olde Twitter machine, And I saw someone post something and I was like, maybe, where they were talking about what if Crimson Sky is actually like involving his brother as a Trojan horse to like get them through. And I was like, that's a good one. That's really fun. Like, I like it, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I had that thought too, right? I had that thought too. When I had that thought specifically is when they have their big meeting, everybody's there, it's very formal. They all sit down, and his brother comes in and says, okay, give me your official, title, your official word. And he says, okay, I surrender. Like, he straight up just says, nope, I surrender. I'll go to Osaka. We'll be right there. And his brother says, cool. Me and my men will escort you every step of the way. And at that point in time, I went,
your ears were like,
wait a
come
minute.
again?
And it's such an intriguing place to be, because on one hand, I really want to believe that, yes, Toranaga and his brother, exchanged secret letters, and because he's still got his spy, and it stands to reason that Toranaga's brother would have his spy. And it feels very Cloak and Dagger to have a brother that you haven't talked to in 10 years, that nobody knows that you've maintained a secret friendship with, and you did that on the for the purpose of, maybe I'll need this one day,
right?
And the problem is Toranaga's son is an idiot. Toranaga, and they've really done a lot to accentuate that, to really drive that point home. Nagakodo?
Perhaps. Nagakata?
Nagakata? Maybe.
Perhaps.
Toranaga Shogun. Oh, speaking of looking this up, I did look up what a hatamoto is.
And
a hatamoto is, consider it like a bannerman, like a banner guard.
Okay.
So like, it's a samurai that is elevated above samurai. That's why Johnny B was sitting next to Buntaro and all the other Yabashige and all the other guys. Because he was granted that role. Nagakodo. So obviously Nagakodo would be there. But Nagakodo is a hothead. He is entirely too impulsive.
Oh, and absolutely.
I love that they drive home the point that Toranaga won his first battle at 12. And
then you have his son, who is just like...
Nagakodo's like 16, 17 years old and still just does not get it.
I mean, it would be a perfect twist if Toranaga's brother was actually needed for Crimson Sky to be the Trojan horse to bring him in. Yes. And then Nagakodo ended up killing him. But also, like, it just, I mean, all for nothing, right? All for nothing. Like, that's where I feel like the story is going with Nagakodo, is like, he was doing all of this and he ends where he does, and it was for nothing.
Yes.
Like, and that's, I think, the almost like, it's such like, it's
tragedy.
Like a Greek tragedy,
Well, and let's take a moment here too, because there is a really powerful situation between the tea house owner. I cannot remember her name.
Jen. Yes.
Jen.
Oh my God. That was my favorite.
Whatever. She comes to Toranaga, and one of the things that she has done is she has negotiated for a stick of his time.
Yes.
Which is also the title of the episode, which is also what makes me think that this particular scene is very potent, very heavy.
This was the tell for me. This, like, it being the same title as like the
Yes.
episode title. All the things that she said, I was just like, suspicion, suspect, something's up. She knows something. Like
So
she knows.
what if, let me just throw this out here. What if, cuz who is Toranaga's brother spending all his time with? Lady
Yeah.
Kiku.
Yes.
What if that's their message service while he's in town? So they are planning on teaming up in Crimson Tide, and that's what, or Crimson Sky, Crimson Tide, which was a great movie, by the way.
Well, yeah, like Blackthorne, that would mean Blackthorne is in on it because he spent time with her as well, which would make his whole outburst like crimson effing horseshit. Like that to me was suspect as well because him getting up and was just like, see you later. Like he blows up and nobody's like, sir, you can't say that to our,
Sir,
you know what
the
I
Wendy's.
mean? Right? Like I don't know, like at the beginning of the series, you had a guy stand up and object, and he ended
Yeah.
up seppuku, and then we have Blackthorne who can just do whatever he wants, but also half the people there probably didn't understand what the heck he was trying to say anyway. So
True.
it was like blah 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 blah, you're all dead. Yeah.
Oh gosh, you know, there again. This is just so potent with so many moments of this. This is another one. This entire series is rewatchable. Like the rewatchability here is going to be amazing, and I can't wait till we finish this season, and then I'm going to go back through and watch it. And I feel like
all
we
the
should have
foreshadowing.
11th episode and talk about the rewatch because dang.
I'm down. I'm definitely down for that.
Twist your arm, right? This episode like pulled a quick one on me. In the opening scenes, it opens up on a battlefield, right?
Yeah.
And people are dying, and people are walking around stabbing the guys on the ground to make sure they're dead. And all of a sudden, this guy runs through and says, "The war is over. Toranaga wins." And my initial thought was, oh, son of a bitch, they did not just fast forward past Crimson Sky. I wanted to see that. And then it was like 46 years ago. And you can see my messages when I was like, oh, shit. Oh, wait. Because then it's all like 46 years ago. And you're like,
okay.
Damn it.
Okay.
Got me. And that's where we get to see Toranaga as a child serve as his defeated warlord's second. In helping him commit seppuku.
And then we learn from Hiromatsu that it took like 9 swings of the sword to like behead that guy. He Theon Greyjoyed it, like just hacked the guy apart, which that's unfortunate for all parties involved.
Right. I also like that he was like, who asks a child to be a second in the first place? And they both laugh like, what an idiot.
Yeah. Look at us. Who would have thought? Look at us.
Look at us, huh?
I did love how last episode Yabushige is like, time to rewrite the will again, and then like the next episode you have like the immediate family member of someone dying where it's like, oh, not again. Time to rewrite the will again.
Toranaga's even like, all right, well, I guess I should do my will as well.
What do you think his reaction is going to be when he learns about, well, okay, we probably won't know, right? He'll probably just do like the stereotypical like, like tragic funeral, however like they do it, and then they move on. But like I so want to see, like I want in behind like the curtain of Toranaga and what's going on in his head. Like I'm like chomping at the bit for it. And that's why this episode, like I loved it. I thought it was great, but it was so hard for me because I feel like I've just been waiting and waiting to finally catch a glimpse of like what's going on in there with Toranaga.
Yeah. That's
They're really drawing it out, which is fine. Like I feel like they have a good, like, meaty 10 episodes. Like it's okay. If this were 8 episodes, I think I would feel differently about it.
yeah. Well, not only that, but the story runners do a really good job of keeping a really great focus on the story. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
not a lot of tangents. There's not a lot of other kind of crazy things happening. I got a hair stuck in my hand. It just goes straight to the point. We tell the story, and there's plenty of room for intrigue. There's plenty of room for suspicion. There's plenty of room for, wait, what the hell was that? But
Yeah.
every scene has a point and adds to the plot of the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
I haven't seen any side quest material at all. Not in any way.
No, it's all been very, like, thought out. I feel like and intentional about what they show, which, I mean, going back to the meeting with the Madam Jin and Toranaga, that felt so important for some reason. Like, who approaches a dead man walking to be like, "Oh, by the way, like, we want to become a guild." Like,
Yeah. It,
and
and this is why,
she's like, "It would be really weird of you not to, notice an army," you know? Like,
and this is why I kind of go, is there something to this plan? To have Toranaga's brother on his side when they reach Osaka. And of course, he's going to know that Ishido is going to have spies everywhere because he knows Yabashige. He knows Yabashige is negotiating with them.
yes.
He can't tell his son because his son is an idiot, and we need his son to be an idiot about it. But I think that in this final scene, we see the true depths of the idiocy of Toranaga's son.
It's it's yeah, for real.
And so we have this issue where Nagakoto is supposed to throw a temper tantrum. He is not supposed to attempt to commit murder.
No, no. Like, that
Also, one other thought,
again.
real quick. I don't know what the money situation is like, but
Mhm.
Toranaga complains about the cost of renting Kiku for a week. And he was talking about how high that cost was. There's got to be more than just a service of a courtesan. Maybe that's like paying for secrecy, paying for spy work, paying for information passing.
Right, and also, if you're gonna die tomorrow, does it really matter where your money goes? Like,
Toranaga gives me the impression that he's still very much scheming. Very much
yes.
so. So that's why when it comes to okay, perfect parallel to this is Matt Cawthon in The Wheel of Time. Later
Mhm.
on in the books, mild spoilers, later on in the books, he gets a sensation of dice tumbling in his head when something important or something big is about to happen. Now, sometimes the dice stop rolling, the dice stop tumbling in his head, and it's a war that breaks out. Sometimes the dice stop tumbling in his head, and he has no idea what just happened. They just stopped, and
Mhm.
he's more disconcerted by that.
Yeah.
I feel like when they sat down with the meeting, like I had that sensation of the dice thundering in your head. And then when he says, "Nope, I surrender," no more dice. Like
Yeah.
that was it. The lot had been cast, and now it was time to enact the plan that had been so carefully laid. And Nagakoto is just going to mess it up.
Yeah. That also, and, like, the way that Blackthorne just, like, storms out, because we've talked about it before, how, like, Blackthorne is very much this like cultural proxy for like the Western viewer. And when he storms out of there, I'm like, yeah, like forget this. This is crap. This is dumb. Like do something. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, like I get it. But on the other hand, the way that he's able to just like get up and scream around like a toddler and then like leave is a little bit suspect. To where I'm like, I don't know where this is going and I don't know what to believe. Then
They
also,
also they also keep telling him to be on his best behavior.
right, and he's not.
But
He's not.
but not only that, but he's never like he's always behaved in a manner that was like, okay. Like
Yeah, but up until this point when he's like, "Ho, ho," like, and I'm out of here. It's like,
yeah.
okay, buddy. So I don't know, like, is he gonna go like dive off a cliff and swim out to the ship and he's like a part of some secret plan and he's like exit stage right about it while everyone is still
Yeah.
like stumped and gobsmacked and like wrapping their head around the fact that they're probably all gonna die? Like, I mean,
It's
it's a
so
perfect time to
crazy.
cut out of there,
It's
honestly.
so crazy. Yeah. Damn. What's gonna happen?
That's like
I,
that's this whole episode. Like, what's gonna happen?
I think that's the other thing that kills me about this, like this show in general, is now it's been a long time since I've had an instance of a show where I was this invested,
Yeah,
where it was
same.
this much about what's going to happen, what is happening. I need the next episode right now, and the fact
Yeah.
that I've got 4 more weeks of this is just
Right? Yeah, there's also the meeting with, well, like the stick of time with Buntaro and Mariko and
Yep.
Johnny B. Like they all got their stick of time this episode. Um the thing, okay, this again, like so suspect because he has that meeting with John and John is like, Mariko's like, be nice, like
Yeah.
don't act all weird. And at the end of this meeting, Blackthorne gets nothing that he wanted, but then says like, I'm with you. Like fate has brought us together, I'll follow you. And
Yeah.
to me, it felt like a signifier to Toranaga, like, okay, this man is actually really on my side. I can trust him. Like, he's someone I can bring into the fold. Now we have that interaction, but then we have the interaction with Mariko that goes absolutely horrible in the worst way because he asks
Yeah.
her, like, are you going to join this war? Are you going to do what you need to do? And she's like, kill me. And he, whips the thing out of her hand. And then he's just kind of like, I'm done with you. So to me, it felt almost like a test. Like he was a stick of time, was almost like him meeting with all of his allies and being like, who can I trust? Like, who can I bring in on something?
Yeah.
Who's, like who's out for who, if that makes sense.
I really like that perspective because once again, if we break this down and say, as you said, which I agree with, that this entire episode is everybody, all of our main characters' interactions with, and therefore how their perceptions are with Toranaga.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it feel like pieces on a chessboard.
Yeah,
Only he's not
absolutely.
playing someone else. He's testing his own pieces.
Yeah, it's like he's tapping the pieces. Like, are they secure to put on the board?
Yeah. Are they, is this the move I want to make? Is this the move I want to make? Is this the move I want to make? And then you've got a couple of people like Hiromatsu. He trusts Hiromatsu,
Yeah.
like as he should. He does not trust Yoshige.
He's only trustworthy as in knowing that he's out for himself, like
Yeah.
that's it.
He does trust I don't know if he trusts Buntaro. I think
think
he's
he
got
trusts
respect for him. I mean, he did ensure their escape from Osaka, right? He put his life on the line for that. So now he serves also as Hatamoto. Which he's got a real bee in his bonnet about. But that's another good point too, is his interaction with Toranaga does not go very well at all for him.
No, because I think he trusts Buntaro, but he knows that Buntaro is so volatile that he
Yes.
can't bring, like, if this was the time where he's laying out plans with people, he's not going to do that with Buntaro right now because Buntaro is a mess.
Yeah. And so the interaction goes, Buntaro shows up and says, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And Mariko's like, "All right, cool, I'm out." And he's like, "Actually, no, I'd prefer it if you stayed. This concerns you." And it's like, okay. And then okay, look. I don't like Buntaro. I do not like him. But he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He has picked up on this infatuation between Mariko and Johnny B, and he's not happy about it, and rightfully so. Now, he's not been a great husband. He's not been a great father. He is a meathead warrior dude.
Yeah.
Which, great. Like, if that's what you are, then be the best you are. Like, great. But you can't. That's like saying I jumped off this bridge and broke my leg, and now I'm mad that I broke my leg. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen? If you're an asshole to people, people aren't going to like you. That's the consequence of life, my guy. If you're a jerk to your wife, she ain't going to like you.
Yeah. I think too, it almost to me felt like Toranaga was giving Buntaro this last chance. After so many chances, put this squabbling, situation between Mariko and Blackthorne behind because there's serious stuff about to happen. So put it behind. He's been nudging him towards that, but he hasn't been able to actually say it out loud, quit doing this because I have a plan for everything, because then it gives away that he has a plan. And
I
so
really need y'all to just keep it together for 2 more days, please.
Right. That's what it feels like to me, total desperation.
Yeah.
He needs everything to go as planned, and I feel like it's not just one big plan either. I feel like he's dabbling in everything. And it's not so much that he needs everything to go right, but he has contingency plans on contingency plans where it's if this happens, then this over here can happen. If that happens, then this thing back here, that goes. And it almost to me feels like the way he's so quiet is because he's doing the math right now and sizing all things up. I could be totally wrong. Haven't read the books, don't know what's going to happen, but
yeah,
it to me, that's what it feels like. He's just this almost Machiavellian in a way that isn't so outwardly I don't know, it's not outward in the fact where he's a mustache twirling, I have plans, you know what I mean? Yeah, but there's something going on in his head, and I mean, the man's always quiet, he's always thinking. That's how the show has presented him.
Sure.
And so all we know is him kind of, having his meetings with everyone. That's, we know that happens. We've gotten to see a flashback that portrays him in a different light. He was weak, but he's no longer that, small child. But
speaking of child,
hello.
is my child. They're leaving for the weekend, so
bye, child. And so we've got the meetings, and then we've got also the whole interaction with his brother and this whole question of what was it truth versus legend. And it's almost like this whole episode is like, is Toranaga the like Machiavellian chess player of
Yeah, yeah,
legend,
yeah.
or is he the scared little kid who couldn't like cut the guy's head off? And it's like, how does this end, right? And like obviously he feels like one of the main protagonists, like this whole story is kind of centered around him.
Yeah.
It feels like like maybe the answer is a little bit of both.
Well, and he even says to Buntaro, where does this end? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
and I like the writing in the show because you get those themes played through
Yeah.
from the characters' perspectives, and you get a real sense of, no, you're right. Where does this end? And I almost feel like, and I go back to the rewatchability of this, but I almost feel like Toranaga's dialogue in this episode gives us insight into what he's thinking, which also plays into a really great scene where he's standing at the archway to the temple, and he tosses this little stone. And memory is tickling. I believe there's a tradition of some kind with that. I don't know if there's a tradition or if he's just tossing a stone. I don't know.
It almost felt like a good luck ritual or
Yeah,
something.
right.
Yeah.
Like let's see how my luck is today, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
And again, Nagakoto is like, oh, it's like they're like quiet. He's contemplating, and you got Hiramatsu, who's straight up, we'll do what the Lord says.
Yeah.
Like you don't question him. That's what we do. He's the old wise. You almost get a sense of like there's like the triple deity, right? The maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
almost get like the flip of that in this scene. You've got the young boy, the warrior adult male, and the wise old counselor. And
Yeah.
they're different takes on the situation, where Buntaro is wise enough to keep his mouth shut, but not wise enough to like not let the concern show on his face.
Mhm.
Nagakoto is over there like, man, this sucks. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Because he's a young kid,
Dad.
his blood's on fire. And he
Yeah.
says, what does he say? He says, I heard that your first kill on the battlefield is as good as your first time with a woman. And
Mhm.
I love how Buntaro just looks at him like, you're an idiot. And then
Not
Yabushige is
again.
like, depends on the woman.
Look, I need to know, like, I need to know more about Kiko. Like, what you said about them being possibly a way to change information from, like, person to person, trade info, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, that's probably one of my favorite thoughts so far because we've been wondering what's
Yeah.
up with the ladies of the Willow world.
Well, and not only that, but think about the offer that she makes him, right? She says, hey, imagine a district, not brothels, tea houses, classy places. But once again, what if that offer is weighted? What if
Right.
she's saying, I will give you your very own CIA to secure your
Exactly.
reign?
Yes.
And
Yes.
he's
Yes.
going, he's like,
Yes.
I'm not even sure I'm going to be alive tomorrow, but thanks. And she's like, really? You sure about that? And I missed what she said. Like I heard what she said, but she was saying something to the effect of, a spy could go and tell him that his armies was on the way. And I was like, okay, I didn't know if she was threatening Toranaga or if she was saying straight up, or if that was her passing the information along. Like Ishido already knows that, Toranaga's brother is there.
To me,
And
it felt like a signal where she was like, "You're playing dumb about this. You have a plan. You wouldn't be a moron to let your brother's army surround you and not notice. Like, I know that you're not dumb."
Okay, so because I did really appreciate her when she was saying, "Hey, I rose from the gutters to be this powerful lady." You understand that too. It's all about guile. It's all about survival. So you think she's saying you're not fooling anyone right now, or you're not fooling me?
I think it's you're not fooling me, but I also think her backstory, who she is. Okay, go with it. Tell me.
Well, because from that perspective, it plays in my mind again about her saying, what kind of a leader would allow a spy to know where his armies were? And if that's the case, if she is, like you say, is putting a jab at Toranaga, like, hey, I'm not stupid, don't treat me like I'm stupid, that makes a lot of sense. Because now you've got the situation in which Toranaga is going, oh, okay, so she knows I've got a plan. And she kind of saw through it immediately, and she knows that I have a spy that was transferring information, and maybe she wasn't the spy in this situation, but maybe she knows about the spy.
Yeah, she knows that Kiko is a spy, and her going to him about the guild, like you said, like, I think that would be a very, like, very cool twist if her, like, going to him about this information was her own, what is it? The many hearts of this woman. Like, look, like, I want legitimacy for my businesses, but also there would be something in it for you, because now you would have an ear at every single one of these houses. And, like, no brainer, right?
Really great.
No brainer.
And then he kind of just does the whole, well, I'll think about it.
Give me a sunrise to think about it.
Yeah.
As per usual.
As per the usual, my first offer on every single stick of time proposal is give me a day to think about it. I don't know.
Yeah, like this episode, so much suspicion. Like it was like getting hit over. No, I I almost said it was like getting hit over the head with, like, all of these meetings. Like, there's like something behind each and every one of them, but I almost said getting hit over the head by a rock. That choices.
Or a rock getting hit with a head.
But it was like getting all of these clues into there being either something way more going on than what we think, or like way less. Like, it's very interesting when a show can, like, push you into, like, total theory crafting mode, where it's like, well, if this happens, like, it could be like that or this.
Yeah.
And like what you were saying, like, it's been a long time that you've had a show kind of like grab you, and like the rewatchability of it is so high. And like for me, it's like, okay, like, what does everything mean? Where it's kind of got you like spinning out all of these ideas. And I think that's probably the most fun part for me, especially like with Toranaga. Like, what's the guy doing? Nobody knows.
Well, and it one other kind of a thought that I had was, you get a very real sense that the characters are just people doing their best. Now, you can agree with some, you can disagree with some. Like I've already stated, I don't like Buntaro. I disagree with his methods. I think he's, I think he's brash. I think he's dumb. But in the end, he's just a guy. He's just a dude doing his best.
You know what I hope? How his end? I hope we don't get like a Buntaro, like, self-sacrifice to save Mariko's life or something like that. I
also don't want that.
I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is, right now I'm starting to like go back to your beginning of like the Mariko Blackthorne relationship, where I'm like, now I'm to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, let's wrap this up. Let's move things forward a little bit. I'm very interested in Yabushige to see where things end up with him, because at this point, Toranaga has like very successfully kind of like put him in a position where he's up against his nephew in terms of like running things. So like if Yabushige screws up, then Omi is like, he's basically going to inherit everything, I feel like, on that side.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Ochiba, like I need to know what's going on with the mother of the heir. Like
well, and this is, and I'm glad you brought up Yabushige again, because he's another one that in this episode I really thought kind of shined. He strikes me as someone who knows the end is near and is just kind of like,
just gonna ride it out.
I guess this is what we're doing now. Doesn't matter. He has these great scenes.
The interaction with Blackthorne. Like, why am I talking to you? You don't even understand anything.
Why am I even talking to you? I hate you. I don't even like you. You know what? Draw your sword. I'm mad and I need to bully someone.
His character, like that actor, what a delight. Like him getting into the hot spring this episode and like taking his swords off. Like it was so good. So good.
And well, and there's one really big scene where Toranaga's brother comes in and says, so last time you sent a secret message to Osaka, you sent your general to show your good intentions. And Ishido would like you to return your general with his response. Mm-hmm. And of course it's, they've got a thing for sending heads. And so he opens up the
always
box.
A head.
And it's his general's head, and he just kind of laughs. And he's very much a man who has nothing left to lose. Yeah. No, I won't say that. He doesn't have nothing left to lose. He's very much a man who's been painted into a corner. I think that's a better way to say it. Yeah. He has been outmaneuvered at every single turn and is now forced to declare loyalty fully, solely, and wholeheartedly for Toranaga, which only adds to this theory that Toranaga's brother is a part of the plan. Because if we've already know that Toranaga knows every move that Yabushige makes. Yeah. He just does.
I feel like he's the most predictable.
Can't sneeze without Toranaga knowing if he pees himself at the same time. Like, he can't do it. So when he sends his general out, what happens? Toranaga's brother or Toranaga's whatever, or bandits, take him, kill him. And now Toranaga's brother comes in and says, haha, Ishido hates you, you suck. And now Yabushige's alliance and allegiance are for Toranaga because he feels like he has nowhere else to go.
Right.
And that just makes so much sense that this maneuver, his brother, was supposed to be the net that corralled everything together. And again, Nagakoto just fucking it up.
Almost. He's still alive. Almost.
Well,
but again,
he still ends up dying though, and that's the. Well, sorry, spoilers for the episode, but you knew that. If you haven't watched episode 7, why are you watching us to talk about episode 7? Get out of here. But there's still got to be something to said for that. How do you think all these people that don't know the plan are going to react when they find out that Nagakoto tried to kill Toranaga's brother? Like, that's going to have some ramifications. That's not going to.
Toranaga's going to have to put out many fires on this one. But that like, again, this episode, like, how often are they talking about Shakume? Like, it's just fate. Like, it's just fate. And like the way that this episode ended was like such a strong correlation where it's like, well, it's just fate. And again, like it's almost like we said in the last recording that's on your channel, Toranaga almost has like this godlike, presence where like it's not just fate or luck, but like the way that he just maneuvers his own intelligence and everything like that to like work for him. And even in this instance, when like if big if here, if his brother is the Trojan horse, that was real close. That was real close.
Yeah. I think that he can possibly kind of save face by being like, I just surrendered to my enemies, and of course my son wanted to take revenge. I'm about to die anyway. You can pass my sentence and judgment. And I hope it feels like he should be able to make pretty easy work of that. But
yeah, I mean, he could say like my idiot child tried to kill this man and failed, like
yeah.
I didn't ask for it. Like the damage is done. Let's move on.
Yeah. It's just it's rough. It's rough. He's in a hard place. And it's one of those real hard situations too, where it's like these aren't. I get okay. Let me start over because my brain like. I get the sense, as I was saying before, with like the dice tumbling, and then that's it. The dice aren't tumbling, which means the plan is enacted. I get the sense that this is the do or die plan. Like, and I think you were saying it earlier too. Like, this is the all. This is winner take all. Toranaga does not have a backup plan. He does not have anything to fall on. He has called forth all his favors. He has called forth all his tricks. And now it's just time for a good old-fashioned frontal assault with this last little bit of trickery. And as we know from the Wheel of Time, every battle plan is only as good is only good until the first arrow flies. This is it. This is I feel like this is I get a very finite sense of this next progression. How about that?
No, agreed. Absolutely. That's why I'm so excited to see the next episode, because I feel at this point like the next, however the next episode starts, like the winds will have shifted, like whatever happens. And I feel like it can only snowball from that point forward. Like there's not, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a whole lot more intrigue to be had at this point, like to the extent that we've seen in the past 2 episodes. Because at this point, there's only a couple left, and like it could be just like intrigue until the end, and I'm sitting here eating my hat, but also like for all of this Crimson Sky talk and cannons, and like there has to be like a lead up point. There has to be a climax somewhere. So I'm just curious, like where this goes.
Interesting point. Toranaga is a master of sort of misdirection, right? And we've seen that time and time again on the show. As the watcher, we have been misdirected, and we go, "What? The shock, the awe." What if the name Crimson Sky, we get this sort of sense that it's a frontal assault. It's an all-out attack, and it's heavily insinuated that it is, right? To keep the soldiers happy, to do all the things. It's heavily insinuated that it's just like an all-out attack. We're just going to go into Osaka Castle and, kill all the things. But I have to wonder if, again, heavily leaning into this theory that Toranaga's brother is in on it. I have to wonder if there's not something that says, hey, by the way, Crimson Sky isn't necessarily a full frontal assault. There's a lot of other things to go along with it. Also, the reason why he and his brother haven't spoken in years is because that was an ace in the hole when the 5 regents were created, in case he ever needed
An
a
out.
leverage, an out, an extra boost of military might, which is coming in handy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also the idea where I thought, because his numbers are lowered at this point,
Yeah.
as much as we know, what if he still has like contingents of fighters like elsewhere, but like in smaller groups, where an aspect of Crimson Sky could be like, this group over here is going to cause disruption over here, and them, like, they're going to do the same thing over here, and kind of like split forces so that they have many distractions happening so that they
Yeah.
can launch an assault on the castle. But also, I mean, like, the name, like, Crimson Sky is, like, what is it, like, blood, splattering
Right?
through the air? Is it, like, lighting the sky aflame with, like, like, arrows or explosions or, whatever? Like,
Or just burning the castle entirely.
right. Yeah, like, fire in the sky. Like, what? I need to know. I need to know.
Well, lucky for you, we've got 3 more episodes of the most
Yeah.
amazing TV show I've seen all year. And lucky for our viewers and listeners, you've got 4 more episodes
Yeah.
of this magic. Okay,
This magic.
just saying, magic.
Yeah, so make sure that if you haven't watched the previous episode that is on Josh's channel, you go do that. The link will be in the description. And should we wrap it up there?
I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I mean, we're yeah, give me more. Give me more.
Yeah, milk it. Milk it.
Every drop. Give it all to me.